because yours truly flew to New York and went to Columbia, I want to show you some videos of what I saw. So luckily, we will be talking with Ola, who is a student who can tell us what's going on inside the gates of Columbia. But as mentioned, right now on Columbia's campus, you have to be a student in order to enter the gates. So I could only go take videos and see what was going on outside of the gates of the university. But that was hugely enlightening, because what has happened is that because of all these student protests, there have been many outside groups which have flocked to Columbia, set up shop on the sidewalk, and are advocating for their various beliefs and causes. So let's take a look at some of them. This is the street outside of Columbia. This is video 1. And there was this huge group of Orthodox Jews who were calling for the eradication of the state of Israel. Just see what it all looks like.
Okay, so here are some posters of the hostages, and then we have this Orthodox group, which is very anti-Israel, right here. And this is a pro-Israel group going to put up posters.
Anti-Zionism is anti-Semitism, and you guys are making up Chilul Hashem.
That's not a student, by the way. That's a New York Jew protesting. Look at those kids, by the way. There were like 4 to 5 year old kids. That one in the video looks a little bit older. But yeah, no, that's what's going on outside of Columbia. Super healthy vibes, right? Oh my gosh. So that girl you saw with the bullhorn, as I said during the video, not a Columbia student, just a Jewish girl who lives in New York who wanted to go and actually challenge those individuals. So, okay. Those were the Orthodox Jews outside on the street. Then, interestingly, there was another group of Muslims who were gathering to pray in the direction of Mecca, as Muslims always pray in the direction of Mecca, but they're setting up on the sidewalk. And I just took a short video because it was utterly fascinating to see on the sidewalk a group of Muslims protesting the state of Israel next to a group of Orthodox Jews protesting the state of Israel.
Subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless them, protect them, and eventually grant them victory.
So here we have this guy in a mask.
That's not a sight that you see every day. Yeah, that's the next video, which we'll show. But that is not a sight that you see every day. And that individual on the microphone in front of the prayer group was saying, and I wrote down some of his direct quotes, that they should be, those of us who are listening should be very happy about what's going on these universities' campuses. And this is a turning point in the state of the world, because it is calling out the state of Israel for the genocidal state that it is. And good change is coming. By the way, fascinating story for you, just quickly before we go on to the other videos. So on the sidewalk, you know, I was there for like 3 hours just watching all that was going on. And there were a lot of police, dozens and dozens of police there on the sidewalk, plus at least 4 big NYPD vans parked on the sidewalk with even more police in those vans in case something happened. It was as if a president or a dignitary or like a ambassador or something was coming to campus, and they had to, you know, have heightened security. But that wasn't the case, obviously. It was just these crazy protests. But so there are all these police, and then there were sort of people like me, journalists, and just kind of citizens of New York, if you will, congregating on the sidewalk, observing what was going on. And so there was this one girl who was standing there. And again, people are yelling, you know, Israel's a genocidal state. Judaism, yes. Zionism, no. The state of Israel must go. This other guy was on a bullhorn talking about glorifying Hamas. As you'll see in a few moments, there was a guy that was holding up a sign that said, Israel equals Nazism. So all of this stuff going on. And there was this girl on the sidewalk who was maybe like 27 years old. And she looked really put together, very well dressed, and had just like a very lovely, calm demeanor. And she was weeping. She was standing there and she was looking at all of this and she was weeping. And so I walk up to her and I think, oh, she's weeping because this is insane. Like, this is a crazy, crazy sight, what has happened outside of these universities. And so I go up to her, and me being the lovely, kind person that I am, I put my hand on her shoulder and I said, I know, this is really intense. It's really, really sad what's happened. And she looks at me and she says, this is the most beautiful day of my life. And I went, oh, like I thought that she was crying because she was so sad by all the radicalism. And then I walked up to her and she was crying because she thought it was so beautiful. Just shows you really don't know where people stand. That was quite a lesson in, I guess, not assuming if people agree with you. Okay. 2 more videos, or I guess 3, just quickly before we go to Ola. This guy who you're about to see was nuts. He was holding up a sign that said Israel equals Nazis. He was also wearing a big Christian cross, and on the other side, he had his poster had an American flag, and it said free speech. And I just want to show you how close he was to students. And then we'll talk about what I observed as far as students' reactions to him.
Biden. Under the Biden administration, the Secretary of State is Jewish. The Secretary of Treasury is Jewish. The Secretary of Homeland Security is Jewish. The Attorney General is Jewish. The Director of National Intelligence is Jewish. Jews control America. Everything, Wall Street, the media, tech, the fashion industry, Hollywood, professional sports. Jews are 2% of the population. The Ivy League, there are eight Ivy League schools. Harvard, Princeton, Yale, Brown, Dartmouth, Cornell, and Columbia. 6 of them have Jewish presidents. Jews are 2%. 2% of the population. Their domination of the Ivy League is typical of their domination of every sector in America.
Yeah.
We live in a Jew, we're under siege with powerful, rich Jews, and they have corrupted our...
Okay, so you get the point. This guy is spewing venom and hatred. And by the way, not in that video, but afterwards, he said that Jews have a, quote, diabolical agenda to bring witchcraft and child sacrifice back. He said back as if it happened, to the United States. So why do I play a clip of this guy? Some people may say, and they would be absolutely right, that this guy does not appear at all to be affiliated with Columbia University, and he's just a crazy nutbag standing on the sidewalk. So why would you give him attention, Julie, or why would you play this clip? Well, I think his presence on that sidewalk, just as the presences of all of the aforementioned groups and what they were saying on that sidewalk, is very important and reveals a lot about the university. Because clearly that guy thought that the sidewalk outside of Columbia would be a hospitable place for him to set up shop and spew his vitriolic anti-Semitic agenda. And of course, with all of these protests, there are some people who are are protesting, the invasion of Gaza, or protesting Israel's perhaps imminent invasion of Rafah. Protesting the actions of Israel is not anti-Semitic. I want to be very clear about that definition when I throw it out. But that guy who's saying Israel equals Nazis, who's saying, as you just heard, that Jews have this, control everything, and they have this agenda, and they have a diabolical agenda to bring witchcraft and child sacrifice to the United States, that is in a totally different camp than protesting Israel's actions. And I have no idea what the students are saying. We're going to hear from Ola. I have no idea if they're saying similar things to that guy. It seems as though some are. I have seen videos that some are. But when I use that term to label that guy as an anti-Semite, it is warranted. That guy is a vicious anti-Semite. And so when he is standing outside of Columbia, we have to ask the question, why does he think that Columbia is a hospitable place for him to park out front and spew his hatred? It's because that things are going on at that university, which makes that individual think that it is a hospitable place for him to spew his hatred. And here's a follow-up question for you. Why is it that in my 3 hours standing outside observing all of this, why is it that I did not see a single Columbia student confront this guy? Now, in some ways, I get it. When there's a crazy dude saying crazy stuff, you may not want to get near it for safety reasons. I got it. But even more than that, when students would walk by, many of them would throw up a fist in support of him or give a thumbs up. Why is that? And here's the $1 million question. If that guy were standing outside of Columbia and he substituted the word Jew for any other protected class in the United States, if he said women have a diabolical agenda, trans people have a diabolical agenda, illegal immigrants have a diabolical agenda, black people, now he was black, but you got my point, black people have a diabolical agenda, substitute anything else besides the word Jew, and I bet you would see people protesting him or confronting him and trying to shout down his hatred. So why is it that a guy can set up shop and spew such hatred and bigotry towards Jews and people just walk by and give him a thumbs up? But then if it were anything else, you know that there would be a huge cabal of people surrounding him, shouting him down. Tells you everything that you need to know. And then as a final point, before we go to Ola, I'm so excited to talk with her. Another thing that I observed there was the prevalence of political symbols, not just pertaining to Israel, but there were like these pride flags. Down the block, there was a BLM flag. Everywhere you turned, it was just soaked in politics. Here's just a short video. Yeah, that's the guy who I was talking
I'm
to.
at Columbia
This is the
University
video,
right now. The entrance is down there, and there is a Orthodox group right here who is protesting the state of Israel. They say we're against Zionism because we're Jews. There's a guy with a sign up there that says that the state of Israel equals Nazism. And this is actually a moment of calm. Like the students have been saying to me, this is very, very calm compared to what they've been seeing. But I want to show you one thing. You notice, look at that pride flag. Like there are so many political symbols all around here. Down there were these BLM posters. There were these trans literature posters over there. And just these universities, in so many ways, have turned into these cesspools of crazy politics. Like everywhere you turn, it's politics. It's nuts.
Yeah, there was a trans literature, like protect trans literature poster, and it was just very interesting to see like the confluence of all of these things. And I don't think that it's a coincidence, because these students, and of course those people, as I've said, are not students, but students on these campuses have gotten so political in so many different ways. And it just shows that the kind of identity of these universities have now become political activism courses. Like, they're just places where people go to advocate for BLM and for pride and for trans literature and for, you know, ceasefire now. And it's like, wait a minute, this is nuts. This is a university. Yes, part of going to a university is learning about politics or the tenets of political thought. But the fundamental, in my view, vocation of a university is to teach you how to think and to give you a kind of space to engage in free debate and open dialogue and learn about a variety of subjects and picnic out on the lawn with your friends. Like, it's not supposed to be DNC headquarters, you know? You're not supposed to have all of these posters and all of this politics. College should be a time when you get away from that. Not all of life is politics.